Wednesday. Um, I'm sorry that I made people worry. I didn't even, I just, it's summertime and there's always stuff to do, especially at summertime. The work is never finished and I just needed a break. Um, I, in the process of taking a break, I started thinking about it and thought, this argument that I'm having, this whole child trafficking thing, they have every avenue shored up and have control over every avenue. And that imagination idiot told me, well, we've known each other for 10 years. And I started thinking about it and I thought, where was I 10 years ago? And, oh, yeah, I remember. I had that group in Olympia, Washington that were focused on me. Doug Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, was living 23 miles away from me, unbeknownst to me. I was having to deal with that fucking protection order because I'd be willing to bet 10 years ago. Yep. Because I lived in Erling for what, three and a half. I've lived here going on 4 now at the end of the year before. So, yeah. And, so yeah, it's interesting. The thing about it is I know all about these honeypot stuff. They keep survivors down. They keep us poor. They keep us silent. They do everything they can to quelch us. So if you have survivors who are all over the place and getting, thousands of views on their stuff, and they're just, seem to be doing really well for themselves, they're not real. Flat out. They're not real. That's how it works. Because they shut survivors down. So I had to think about where I was 10 years ago. And now the important part about it is what has happened in the last year or so. And first and foremost, Mesner, aka Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, came to me and offered me any amount of money I would wanted if I would just stop. And when I told him to go fuck his money, he told me he had other stuff. Came to me on Twitter, X, as chief handler. Which tells me that that smug ass smile he always had on his face is now gone. Then you also have to consider that global satanic Nazi pedophile ring got busted last September in New York City by the FBI. That's happened. Has changed things dramatically. 8 months ago, I was told to open up the comments on my YouTube and start talking about Isaac Cappy. And significant things have happened from that. Corey Daniel, who knew the minute he went under an overpass with no reason to know that very minute. Now the story, I guess, has changed, and now he was on the overpass. That's a pretty big transgression there. And now Denise Mathau sends me that thing trying to say that Thomas Schoenberger is dead. And it is so stupid, it defies words. But what it tells me is that now Thomas is starting to realize the same thing that Doug finally realized. I'm not crazy, and I'm not lying. And that is about my training as well. I went and just looked at mentions right before I came on here, and that dumbass Geo Farnsworth, you know, they're going to jump on the fact that I called out this honeypot, this imagination fucking bullshit. I would be willing to bet that there is some connection to Doug Mesner with that group, just because of the timing. I don't know for sure, but I will not be surprised when it happens. And I ended up having to take a break from this because I had to deal with that idiot on Messenger all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And all day Saturday into Sunday. It started Sunday, and then I blocked him. And then I unblocked him. And now I finally just blocked him again. Because I don't care. I don't care about the nuances of their bullshit. But it's interesting that a 30-second short a month ago had this effect. But it's because all of the shit is starting to fall apart. And the people who are involved with this, they know, they've heard rumors, I'm sure. There's a reason why Lucian Greaves, founder of the Satanic Temple, made me the offer that he did. There's a reason why Denise Mathau is trying to convince me now that Thomas Schoenberger is dead. I've only gotten the one email. But I did a video after that and they realized it ain't gonna work. Thomas, where the fuck do you think you're gonna hide? Where do you think you're gonna hide? The dark? When I send the dark to you, it goes inside of you. So wherever you run, you're just gonna take it with you, you know? And the darkness feeds paranoia and ignorance. It's just, it's fun to watch people because when they're so inclined to dark, it just makes them spin around like a top. That's been my experience with it. And I told Thomas, I've told all of them, that in the end, they're all gonna feel exactly what all of those kids felt in the end. Something horrible is about ready to overcome and envelop them. And no one is gonna come save them, and they can't save themselves. And there's nowhere to run, and there's nowhere to hide. And they're gonna end up feeling the exact same emotions that all of those children felt in the end. And they all start off with smug ass grins. That's the reason when Daniel Dowd and Geo Farnsworth, go ahead, dance around like a monkey in heat. You know, your grin will go away eventually. They always do. That's what I know about this stuff. And calling out this group, with survivors of what I went through, the shit part about it is that what survivors, if I could give survivors as a whole any advice, no one is coming to save you. And they're as eager to get to you now as they were when you are kids. And so you can't really trust what presents itself because it's not, you know, it's always interesting when I cause controversy in my videos to watch the comments because people come out of the woodwork with things to say. And I know that I'm right, and I'm glad I called it out. The thing about it is that as a survivor of this, I do not adhere to this whole thing of, well, when someone says they're a survivor, they can't be questioned. All I've ever been is questioned and doubted and all of that. And so when you can't say anything to anybody, that allows them to come in and pretend to be survivors and then just spout the stupidest shit you've ever heard in your life. And the reason why they do it is because any rational person will listen to that and think, wow, survivors are fucking crazy. And that's why it's done that way. That's why it's done that way. And they all seem, oh, they're so loving and they're so caring. And it's called gaslighting. That's what it is. It's gaslighting. And they will gaslight you until they no longer need to gaslight you. But when that happens, you better watch out because they're getting ready to throw you off a cliff. That's how it works. And so unfortunately for survivors, you survived what you did as children. You don't need anyone to come save you. You have abilities and strength, the likes of which most people have never been tested that way. You know, they've never truly been tested. And survivors have. We've all been tested. And you don't have to fall for everything just because, you know, and they just act like they are just, they love you and they love bomb you and they just do all kinds of nice stuff for you and they tell you how much you're, wow, we're so similar. We're just, I can think your thoughts. We're finishing each other's sentences. That's the shit that they'll say. But if you look at it rationally, you don't end up finishing their thoughts. They just want to act like they're finishing yours. And it's all fake. It feels fake. And that's what you need to trust, is your intuition. You know? Hey, you need to trust your intuition. That's what they don't like about with me. Because I'm not asking you, all I'm asking you is to consider what I'm saying. That's all I'm asking. Consider it. But use your discernment, you know? Use your discernment. I will never willingly lead another person wrong. I think that's fucked up. However, it's not like I can walk on water, so, you know? Funny. I just, I got emails from people who were concerned because I kind of fell off the radar. Thursday I was just, I came on a live thing because I've done something and it's kind of the reason why I took a break from everything. You know, it's funny because you can run and run and run and run from a situation and in the end up right back where you were before. And what's happened is that I cast. I was told to, I have fought it and didn't want to. When I was a kid and Aquino was my handler, Aquino was way younger and he wasn't in control. That was the shit part about it, is that the dude was trying to make a name for himself with me or whoever else he was using. But I was definitely at that point in his life where he was trying to prove himself. And fucking psychotic asshole. And I was a kid. but what they wanted to do, and the people that were above him were fucking Luciferian Nazi scientists straight out of the German concentration camps. You know, a lot of them had German accents, thick German accents. I didn't get to hear it often because they went through, Aquino was my handler. But there were other people that were involved. And what they wanted, I grew up as a 60s and 70s. And mind over matter was a big thing back then. And what they wanted, my little super soldier talent was to be able to cast. What they wanted was a witch or a warlock. I mean, obviously I'm a guy, but what they wanted, a witch who could cast but didn't need a coven and didn't need rituals, could just focus on it and do what they wanted to do. And worse, they wanted us to be able to do it instinctively. So that's what drove me into therapy, because for a long time, I couldn't control what they had opened up inside of me. And you have to understand the reason why I called Rabbit Hole, when the working title was Confessions of an Antichrist, because they were raising me to be the vessel that was going to be inhabited for the Antichrist. And you don't have to agree with it. It obviously didn't happen that way. However, it doesn't change the fact that they convinced me as a child, and for a long time I fought with it and ran and did everything I could. And in the end, at 57 years old, I ended up not being the Antichrist, but the thing about the darkness is that it was always a place for me. It was a place that was given that I could cast whatever I wanted to. And many, many years, people have heard me just so confidently say that I had used it to separate myself from my anger and rage, from all that I had gone through, all the shit that I went through as a kid, and all the shit that I went through as Franklin, and all the stuff they did to me, and all the stuff that they're, separated myself from my anger and my rage. And at this moment in time, they come to town, they murder my brother, because Owen was, for all intents and purposes, my brother. And then they dance around and brag about it and think it's fucking funny. Now they don't think it's funny because I'm calling them out. Now they don't think it's funny at all. Now they're trying to say it exists. It never happened. But I was doing videos to show how it was working out in live time, and let alone my sheriff and all of the people knew, because they were seeing the emails too. And that's the reason why when Daniel Dowd found out about that, he started sending me 20 and 30 emails at a time. But they were sending me pictures of my house, and so they danced around and all of that. What really cinched it was them letting my dog out into the heat. And had I gone the way I was going to go, and I wasn't told by someone on the other side to go home, I would have come back probably to an incredibly sick, if not dead, dog. And what I've realized as of late, because it just hit me like a train, was that all of this anger and rage that I thought I had cast into the darkness and separated myself from, I was lying to myself the whole time, because it was on top of me and has been on top of me. And all I did was compartmentalize it. That's all I did. So it overcame me one day, and I ended up casting and giving it back to the very people who gave it to me in the first place. Instead of, and I didn't, heaven has been pushing me to do it for a long time. And I haven't wanted to do it because I didn't want the responsibility. Because you don't understand. Every time I have cast, and I've only cast twice, it ends up being, that's the reason why this David Hall idiot saying that I was angry and bitter at a time where I had just cast, because all of the anger and rage, you don't understand how much anger and rage and how complex all of this shit is. The torture, the child killings in Hummel Park, all the way up to that dude. And my dad and stepmother left me in the basement with that dude before they forced me to light him on fire. And it just came up. I started thinking about it, and he's tied up in a fucking chair in someone's basement. And all he wanted from me was to know about his daughter. And I didn't say a word to him. I was so terrified of the situation that I was speechless with the dude. And but all of that situation kind of saved me, though, because they opened up the shit when I was a kid, but I didn't go through the control shit. I mean, I went through the control shit, but you have to understand, with them, at 13 years old, that's when you perform your first blood sacrifice. And they make you do it at 13 because then they have control of your ass. Because then they can say, well, you're a fucking murderer. So if you bring us down, you bring yourself down. That's how that shit works on the kids. And I knew that at 13, but I never got that chance because lighting that dude on fire when I was 10 was never part of my programming. But all of these idiots attacking me with their fucking weapons, breaking into my house, let alone the frickin' gas station explosion and all of that. It just really accumulated to the point where I lost it. I lost it. And so I returned. The dark that this group has given me all of my life, when it overtook me and hit me like a train, I didn't want it because I've been away from it for so long, and I didn't want. So what I ended up doing was sending it all back to them because that's part of my training. It's all energy. It's all spiritual shit. It's all going on to the other side. That's the reason why they drowned me over and over and over and over and over again, and revived me over it. And that shit hurts, you know? But they figured a near-death experience makes someone more connected to the other side. So, of course, they took it to the fucking extreme, you know? And so they just don't realize. At the end, I didn't end up being the vessel for the Antichrist, but I journeyed this morning, and Cindy called me the bearer of the dark. I bear the darkness. And what I know about the darkness is that it's here to separate the wheat from the chaff. And it's here to claim the fucking chaff. And it's what it was always written. What it was always written. But the people that have made my life a living fucking hell, I've just returned the fucking favor. Have fun with that. In a way that I can't even begin to describe to you. you know? And it's interesting because heaven was happy that I finally did it. Because it's taken me a lot. Because I didn't want to be the fucking Antichrist. I've never wanted to be the Antichrist. And yet, for heaven, I still gonna have to be a dickhead, you know? Because sending people to darkness, even though they deserve it, what is going to consume them, they have no idea. They have no idea. And I know that it's happening. That's the reason why Thomas Schoenberger wants to go into hiding. That's why Doug Mesner offered me any amount of money that I wanted in order to stop. And he wasn't talking about fucking investigations. You really think my YouTube fucking video shit has any really effect on anything? You know? It's being able to do what I was trained to do. And so sound is breaking up and chopping. Clockwork Orange. You know, I only watched that movie once because it was true to my experiences, very true. To let me know when the sound, because I can't tell. I don't know the sound, I don't know the video. The problem with the darkness, the thing about the dark is that if your heart is filled with love, the dark can't touch you. But if your heart is not filled with love, the darkness will come inside of you. It doesn't need an invitation. It just goes inside. It identifies itself and goes inside. And does it happen all at once? No. Because it works in the parameters of their game. And what they taught me as a child is anticipation makes the blood sweeter. And so it starts to build paranoia. And it starts to put doubts in people's heads. And it starts to fuel the things that will lead you to bad behavior. And that's what's happening with all of that. Their paranoia is starting to eat them alive. And they can't stop it because they're drawing it to themselves. The darkness that's inside of them is drawing it to them. And the only way to overcome it is to fill your hearts with love. And I wouldn't suggest anybody else do what I've done, but I was fucked when I was a kid. What difference did it really make? You know? I've been involved with this from the very beginning, and I am tired of all of this. And now that it's cast and it's done, it's done. There's no taking it back. There's no drawing it back in. There's none of that. It's done, you know? And it took a lot to push me over the edge. It did. But they succeeded. They did. They succeeded. They got it in their mindset that they wanted to push me over the fucking edge, and they succeeded. And they ain't gonna like what's coming for them. They ain't gonna like what's coming for them. And unfortunately, it's gonna get intense for everyone. Because the rain falls on the just and the unjust. What I know is the darkness is here. God is using the darkness to separate the wheat from the chaff. That's what's ending up happening. Oh, they've always questioned my ability. Did I perform some black magic? That's the whole thing about it, dude. I sent them the darkness. That's all I did. Because of my training, I don't need a coven. And I don't need rituals. I don't need any of it. And it ends up happening instinctively. That's why I am so glad I went to therapy, because therapy and shamanism learned taught me how to control it and to learn how to control it and not letting it control me. But after they just murdered my best friend and then they just put my dog out and they're hitting me with their machines, fuck them. That's how I look at it. And if anybody feels bad for them, fuck you too. If you feel bad for them, join them. Because I don't feel bad for them. I don't. Feel bad for the people they hurt, that their group hurts. All of the children that they end up unaliving. You know? Feel for them. But don't ask me to feel sorry for a bunch of fucking child killers or people who would protect those fucking child killers. You want to go protect them? Be my guest. But you ain't gonna like what fucking ends up at your front door. You know? They watch this shit all the time. Fuck, I can't do a goddamn thing without them on top of me. They watch everything I do. They dote on every word I say. They used to have videos out there where they like broke into my words. I don't even know how many hours they had to spend watching every video to get certain words. You know, it's bizarre, you know? And I know that Terry Joyce and Geo Farnsworth and Daniel Dowd and all of that. Geo Farnsworth is such a fucking dumbass. I'm just assuming that the video that he did, that he mentioned me in, he's laughing about this whole thing about me calling out this honeypot with imagination or whatever the fuck it is. Who knows? You know? Who gives a shit? It's all the same. It's in to draw in survivors so they can find out what you know and neutralize your ass. So they can control the narrative. They're not your friends. You ain't gonna find any friends online. You'll find friendly people, but the ones who are desperately trying to ingratiate themselves into your lives, those are the very people that you have to be careful of. Not always. There are certain people out there that just are good people, but it's hard to tell them from the others. And the others, oh my God, they'll just. But you want to know what? I bet the Dead Isaac Cappy Club is not really satisfied and happy that they sought me the fuck out. Because nobody likes to play with me. Nobody likes to play with me. Imagine that. I tell them what I can do. I tell them what I'm going to do. And they laugh and they dance and they act like fucking monkeys in heat until they realize I was telling the truth. And I do what I said I was going to do. You know? The darkness, I figure that God just needed a man on this side because man had to be involved with this as well. With the angels and heaven, man, you know? Is a Karen club dancer. True. They'll dance around like fucking dumbasses. They will. But the fact that Denise Mathau tried to convince me that Thomas Schoenberger is dead, things are not going well for them. That's what I'm assuming. Things are not going well for them. And I seem to be having an effect on a lot of things. And I'm pissing a lot of people off. That's just goes with the territory, you know? Which is funny. That's why I needed a break. Because having to be an asshole all the time is exhausting. I don't like it. I don't like it. I can do it. I can do it. There's no problem for me to do it. but it's exhausting. It's not part of my nature. It's not anything that I enjoy. And I have not enjoyed myself with this stuff. I certainly have not liked meeting the Dead Isaac Happy Club. Has made me completely look at Isaac in a completely different light. And still love him, but had I known, I would have bailed way before. I did get your email about synchronicities. Thank you. Haven't done a shit thing with it. I have been, summertime is also, you have mowing and plants and outdoor stuff that you have to do, and I see people all the time coming by my house and taking pictures of my sign, and I'm just, hey, demons hockey, and tornadoes. Yesterday it hailed. It's just hailed. And Spencer was where I got my groceries when I was in high school. That's where we went to go. I did. I'm really glad. I like it when people send me emails because I know that I'm still getting emails because I'm never sure. You know, comments disappear on YouTube all the time. And if your comment disappears and you're able to comment again, it's YouTube. If your comment disappears and then you can't find my channel anymore, it means you've pissed me off and I've blocked your ass. Because I just don't play anymore. I'm not giving them my venue. They can go say whatever shit they want to about me, any fucking where they want, but they're not doing it on my venue. And hope your garden survives to harvest. Yeah. The problem is that it's 1,000,000 degrees here. It's not supposed to be this hot this soon. And yeah. I can't even tell what engagement I have because, like I said, one of the last times I actually paid attention to it, I had something like 6 likes, but 0 views. How the fuck do I have 6 likes, but 0 views? They screw with my numbers all the time because they don't want it to get, you know, obviously someone's, because Demon Saki is in here, so she must have gotten a notification. So some of you are getting notifications when I do live videos. It's been really, really, really intense lately. The fact that, well, Thursday I went down to Omaha because I was going to go to a quilt show. And, oh, you didn't. Demon Saki says she didn't. So she just, you know, I'm glad you decided to tune in. I just happened to refresh YouTube and it showed it. Cool. X Twitter is just so, unless you're up Elon's butt and post the things that Elon Musk likes, Twitter has changed. It has changed. I'm exhausted because I am tired of fighting. Their fucking energy weapons have been off the chart. They're better now, but I saw the dude the other day, yesterday, because I've been having to do yard work, and I have to do it in the morning or late afternoon because I can't take the heat. I can't be in the sun, because in the sun, I don't know where it is other places, but that sun, what is permeating off of that sun, is so intense that it is so uncomfortable to be out in the sun. And but I saw him, and he was not happy to see me. He got a look on his face that, you know, the minute he saw me, I got this impression that he hadn't taken a shit in a month. And he was just not happy to see me. And I think what it is that they convinced themselves that their shit was just going to make me drop. It was just going to be easy. You know, it was like the dumbass neighbor when I first moved in and he was already there, told me that they liked it when I turned my porch light on and off because they knew if I was still alive or not. Why the fuck would you say something like that to your neighbor, especially a new neighbor? You know, it was just so off the wall that of course it caught my attention. But I really do think that they thought it was going to be just simple. They were just going to turn that shit on and I'd be done. And obviously that's not the case. You know, obviously that's not the case. Especially the last few days, they've been watching me do shit to my house, cleaning it and, you know, doing stuff outside, yard work. Poop scooping is a never-ending job. But it's because God keeps me here. That's why when I say that real survivors, they keep down or they murder, that's what ends up happening. When I say that, realize that I include my stuff in that as well. They have tried to take me out so more times than I am probably even aware of. God only knows what they've put in my food, or I know they put shit in my hair, my conditioner one time, because I never had a problem with it, and then all of a sudden it burned. It was like acid in my eye, and I ended up having to throw it out because there was something wrong with it, and so God only knows, and yet here I still am, and you would think, at this moment in time, they would realize that I'm different than most people. And because their shit isn't doing to me what it does to most everyone else, I would have to ask myself, why would that be? And then maybe, just maybe, I would consider the fact that the dude had been telling me the truth the whole time. And what was protecting the dude was exactly what the dude said was protecting him. Heaven. God. That's what protects me. That's why that whole gas station explosion, that bomb, it fucked the whole town up basically. But my house didn't have any effect on me whatsoever, even though it was completely meant for me. And that's the way this shit works. Heaven wanted me to use the dark because I'm supposed to accept who I am in this. But I didn't want to be the vessel for the Antichrist, and I really don't want to be the bearer of the darkness. I don't want to be involved in, I don't want to be connected to the darkness when the darkness is what's separating the wheat from the chaff, even though there's no way for me to run and I'm stuck into it now. You know, I'm here. But that's the reason why I'm still here. That's the reason why their little protection order shit in Washington failed the way it did. You know, yeah, it forced me to move, but it's God watches out over me because I'm doing heaven's work. And you would think that if you had tried to take me out over and over and over, and what you were using has taken other people out with no problem, but didn't take me out, maybe I would consider that I'm telling the truth. Because when I say repent and turn away from the evil shit you're doing because you're running out of time, I can't reiterate that enough. And I guess you can be like Thomas Schoenberger and try and convince people, but where are you going to hide? You know, where are you going to hide? It's all inside of you. There's nowhere to run and hide. That's what I've had to realize just myself lately. There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. And try as you might, sometimes you can't change a damn thing. Exactly. People assume that others have a similar reaction to what they would do, and they don't understand being strong from God. Because it's all God. It's just another case where I'm bitching and I'm just not happy at the place that heaven has chosen to put me in, you know? And I made the decisions myself. It's not like I'm here and I'm just a victim of the fates. But still, you know, to be quite honest, I'll be glad when all this shit burns away and the faithful find themselves on the new earth and the chaff finds themselves in the dark and this is done. Because this has sucked. You know, this has sucked. And I hate fighting with people. Imaginarium, but they end up pissing me off because I know what they do to victims. I know what they do to victims. Because they're your best friend. They love bomb you and they're your family and they care about you and oh my God, love you, love you, love you until they don't. And then they demolish people who are already fractured to begin with. Because you can't go through what we went through and not be fractured. You may not be broken, but it fractures our psyches. There's just no way around it. You can tell yourself whatever the fuck you want, but you can't go through what we went through and not have parts of you that are fractured. They're not broken, but, you know, there are things to be aware of, and especially for survivors. And they're constantly trying to re-abuse us. So fuck them. I don't feel bad for them at all. I never found my abuse to be love bombing. Mine was always awful. I mean, yes, they were murdering prepubescent white boys and telling me it was done for me. It was a tribute to me. So I guess that's their fucked up way of love bombing, but otherwise I didn't get the love bombing. But as adults, that's how they get you back in. That's how they get you back in. And you know, the sad part about it with survivors is that I've watched it happen. They've sent people a stuffed animal or a card, and that's all that it takes sometimes. A lot of times, that's all it took. And that's the reason why I don't hang out with survivors, because who can compete against that, you know? By the way, I filed a report with the FBI for Iowa regarding Neil and illegal moving drugs. I don't expect anything, but they are culpable now. Cool. One more to add to the list. It ain't like I haven't fucking done it. They ain't gonna do shit, you know? The thing about it is that I think the election is over now because I don't see any more Neil Gross signs except mine. And people drive by and take pictures of that sign every day. It's funny. Hey, it's funny. And all it says is protecting child traffickers is wrong. How can you, it's a statement. How can you argue against that statement? You know, it is wrong. Protecting child traffickers is wrong. Just, that's the way it is. It's wrong. But I wanted to come on here and just let everyone know that, you know, I'm okay. Same old shit. I probably won't take as big of a break. Your signage made me giggle. I laugh every time I drive into my driveway and see it, because I know that it just irritates. It irritates the right people, and I'm just okay with that. It's also coming to the first of the month, and I am so stressed out about cash. And you would think that I would be making pieces of artwork to sell, but the shit that is going on so much is so distracting that I have to admit, since Thursday, it's kind of consumed me in a way. I've spent a lot of time just laying in bed watching movies. Of course, it's also 1,000,000 degrees here, and I don't like to go outside in the heat. But since Thursday, and then I ended up having to fight with that dumbass on Saturday, and then it went into Sunday. And I do have to say that that's the thing about it is that it went into Sunday, and I ended up getting irritated, and it forced me to get up and start cleaning my house because I was so irritated by the whole situation. Yeah, money is hell, and it's hard to make quality work under stress. That's just it. It's, I tried to do, so and his arguments were all the same as the satanic temples, because they're always the same argument. You've never helped any children. I donated to you. You're just destructive. You're bitter. We're doing so much and you're not doing anything. But that's not how I see it at all. I see that what I'm doing is actually working. That I know that the shit that I'm doing is working. I know that I have made enough of an issue out of so many things that people aren't just letting it go anymore. Neil, I have him by the fucking balls. He's gonna do his job this time. Because these motherfuckers coming in and then taking out Owen and then dancing around like fucking assholes, thinking there was nothing I could do, And it's because they've done it so many times before. There was nothing nobody could do anything. But I ain't one of those people. And I keep telling people I ain't one of those people. They never fucking listen. They always have that smug ass grin on their face. They always think that they're so fucking superior until they're like Mesner begging me to stop and offering me anything I want to stop. But it ain't never gonna stop. That's what I told Mesner. It ain't never gonna stop. This is just warming up. This isn't even really the warm up. What is waiting for them in the dark is worse than anything they could even begin to imagine. Because the next time they get what they want, life eternal. There is no death. No death. And they're masters of all they can see. Oh yeah. Doug is still having problems. He's still around, but he hides. But and I know that things are happening. When I sent them back the darkness, it was in order to have them be claimed. And the energy that was involved with this whole situation wasn't just me. Heaven was involved with it as well. So with all of my anger and all of my rage and all of my indignation and all of the shit that I have gone through all my life with this shit, it had all of that energy wrapped up into it with heaven's wrath added to it. And so that's what's coming for them. That's the reason why I say whatever is coming, it's going to be horrible. Because what I cast was horrible and it was exhausting. And no, I'm not proud. Why would I be proud? You know, and I'm not answering any questions. I mean, nobody asked me that. I'm just saying, you know, I know people would say, "Are you proud of yourself?" No, no, I'm not proud. Do I like it? No, I do not like it. But if I had to do it again, would I do it the exact same way? Yeah, because it had to be done. You know. Tara Joyce just wants me to shut up because all that fucking social media is going to lead right back to her. Because they were laughing and all of the shit involved with her. And God only knows what else is in all that social media. Because I only know of their crimes what I know of their crimes. And that's not much. But God only knows what they're involved with. And they're so fucking stupid, they just bragged about it on social media. Never realized that shadow dragon thing would come around. And then they'd be able to see the shit. And again, that's the other thing that happened this year. I found out about Shadow Dragon. You know, everything has changed. Everything has changed. That's just it. Tara's just projecting, you know. I was drained. I've been drained since I cast that. The whole thing about it is in the end, heaven expected me not to be the Antichrist, but it was in some ways just as difficult, you know? The stuff that I had, you know, if I could send love and joy and all of that, why wouldn't I want to do that, you know? You know, the thing about Tara Joyce's cease and desist, I find it interesting. What she's afraid of is that they're going to find out that they were fucking laughing. Because I know it's her and her group that were fucking trying to bust into my Social Security. Because she was going on and on and on about how I didn't deserve Social Security right before Social Security told me that. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that one out. And then about with Owen, you know damn well they were dancing around. Fuck, they danced around to me when they did it. You know? So you know they were fucking laughing about it on social media or in emails and stupid shit. You know? What fucking dumbasses. What fucking dumbasses. And then didn't think there was anything that I could do. You know? It's just projection. You know, she should have ceased and desist before she reached out to me while she was telling everybody I was a fucking pedophile. She shouldn't have gotten my attention. That's the thing that it's finally starting to dawn on every one of them. When you're a bad guy, it's not really in your best interest to dance around and get my fucking attention. It doesn't work well for you in the end. You know? I do send love and joy. I try to send out love and joy. And I try and give guidance with my insights. The thing about it is that having to deal with this group that I've had to deal with, fucking child killers and the pedophile protection squad. That's what I always called them before. The pedophile protection squad. It's exhausting to have to deal with this constantly. And oh my God. And the thing is that she wants to, now I'm not with Thomas Schoenberger. Now I'm working with Denise Mathau. But I haven't trusted Denise Mathau since the days of the fucking SMART conference when I was going there. Oh, I have no intention of quitting. I really, that's why I came on. Because people emailed me tonight and I felt bad because people were just like, "Are you okay? We haven't heard from you." But it's just, I have to take a break because if I go into my email, I don't know what fucking attack I'm having to deal with. And I really usually don't back down. Or when I go onto YouTube and I look at the mentions or even with the comments, because this whole thing with imagination bullshit, they had all of their goddamn trolls come in there. Oh, Emma is wonderful. Emma is wonderful. You know? No, they're not. You know? And of course they're going to tell you that they're wonderful. But join at your own peril. If you're a victim, the shit part about it is that you're gonna have to find the strength to actually find your way yourself, like it always has been. It sucks. I wish it was something else. I wish there was another way, but in all of my struggling and all of my going through this, that's the only conclusion that I can come through that is safe. You know, if I don't take a break, I'll shut down. That's just it. And it's summertime. Should I have yard work to do? You know, I have a raised garden thing that I do tomato plants. So I have 3 tomato plants and 3 pepper plants. And weeding. Not to mention I hurt my back. And it's just now getting to be back to normal. And they're on top of me all the time. Breaking into my house and putting my dog outside in the heat after what just happened with Owen, they pushed me over the edge. They did. They pushed me over the edge. I finally got to the point where, fuck it, they wanted me to play, so I played. You know, they wanted it so fucking bad, so I figured they needed goddamn demonstration. And so I gave them one. And the longer it takes, the worse it is. That's how it works. But it's not taking long. Their own paranoia is already drawing to themselves. And I'm just, I would love to say that I am peace and light and all about the word, and I try to emulate Jesus Christ. And I do. Don't get me wrong. I do. I do. But I also know that this time around in this life, that is not the path that I'm on. Because of my training as a kid and because of God and the effect that I've always had in my life, I was given a sword and I'm expected to use it. And for a long time I've been fighting against it because I want to be this benevolent dude who gives out advice and tells you guys that it's all going to be okay and that, you know, I love you. And that's all true. That's all true. But there's another side of me that is not so pleasant. That's like biting down on tinfoil. And I have fought against that. It's like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. For me, it's always been a kind of a Dr. Jekyll's. My dog is okay, but they're pissed off because I don't let them outside. They go outside and I let them out for about 10 to 15 minutes and that's it. Because this heat is too much. It's too much. And it's starting to drive people insane, to be quite honest. If you look at the news, oh my God, people are just freaking out everywhere. But it's all the gamma radiation and the heat from those X flares that keep hitting us because we have no magnetic field to protect us right now because the magnetic polar things are getting ready to switch So there's no real magnetic stuff to protect us right now, you know? And so it's just that gamma radiation is cooking everything. I ended up I ended up having to spend the last $60 that I had. I'm waiting for the third because my one dude needed drops in his ears because he had made his head bleed, and he gets stuff that he needs drops in his ears to actually help him with the ears. So things have not been big. It's I had a friend of mine tell me, David Hall said that he donated to me, but when he started talking to me 10 years ago, I wasn't accepting any donations 10 years ago because they had convinced me to open a GoFundMe thing, and it was such a bad experience. That's the reason why I've never asked for donations for years and years and years. It wasn't until recently, and it was only until I started being interviewed at that Wide Awake place, and Penny convinced me that I should ask for donations. There was nothing wrong with it. That was when I started doing it, and that was, what, 8 months ago, 7, 8 months ago. And so I've been keeping Grandma inside. Yeah, you have to keep everybody inside, including yourself. And I can't afford the air conditioners, so I have my air conditioner set at 76. I'm dying in my house, but at least it's not 1,000 degrees in my house. It's 76. Makes it a little bit difficult to sleep at night, so I've been turning it down a little bit at night because I prefer it cold. I'm a winter kind of guy. If I moved to Ireland where it's cold and rainy all the time, oh my God, I would love it. I would love it, Cold and rainy are my two favorite weather patterns. And so it's just there's been so much, and I had to take a break. And I didn't mean to worry anybody. I really apologize for worrying people. It's just that when I take a break, I stop checking my emails. I've been doing videos, short videos, for YouTube, but those are not really interacting with much. I end up, and I'm exhausted. You can tell that I'm exhausted. Their weapons have been intense, and this constant fighting has been intense, and I'm just someone trying to expose their family, being involved with child trafficking, shouldn't have to go through the shit I've had to go through to get it investigated. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't seem right to me. And that's a good idea. Put frozen bottles of water in front of fans as a do your own air conditioner. That's a good idea. We have gotten so little water. I mean, it rained last night, I guess. It hailed. It was almost kind of scary because the hail was just hitting everywhere. And it was the weather patterns are getting to be bizarre. And I just can't worry about it anymore. So I go to bed in my normal, because I am dreading to know what my utility bill is going to be. But at night, I haven't been able to take it. So I've been turning my air conditioner down to 69. Last night, cognitive. Last night I actually turned it down to 68. I was, but in the winter time, when it's cold outside, I turn my heat at 55. People don't like to come to my house because in the winter time, it's 55 degrees in my house perfect temperature for me. Perfect temperature. I'm in shorts and t-shirts and 55 degrees in my house. Yes, cognitive, I am still alive. I apologize for making anybody worry. I have just had to take a break. I had to take a break. I spiritually things have just come to a head for me. And I took the place that I have been fighting my whole life, telling myself, dude, it wasn't my place, even though every time I journeyed, I was told that it was my place. And I have just had enough. And these butt wipes want to fucking play. So, fuck it. I'm willing to play. I am definitely a cold boy. I am definitely Northern European. I'm definitely, well, my mom was Irish. And so, Ireland is actually, of all the places that I could go in my life, if I had a chance, I would go to Ireland. I would go to Ireland just because my mom was from Ireland. And I would go to Ireland because the weather, there's just something about it that pulls me, you know? I mean, this probably sounds stupid, but like black people have Africa and Asian people or Chinese people have China, you know, what they consider their homeland. And although I grew up in America, I've never felt at home here. You know, I love sweaters. Sweater weather, my favorite kind of weather. The butt wipes did want to play. They always want to play. But coming in and taking out Owen and then dancing around thinking that there was nothing I could do. I've had a really difficult time with Owen. Even though he's so much happier on the other side. He doesn't have to go back to work. He's not in pain anymore. He's all happy on the other side. But last Thursday, I went to Omaha and ended up going to this nasty ass Chinese buffet that I always hated when Owen was there. But it was one of his haunts. He loved the place. And I ended up going there to eat, and it was a mistake because I walked out of there so sad. I missed Owen so bad. Owen was my brother. He was my brother-in-law for 19 years. But for all intents and purposes, he was my brother from a different mother. And Ireland is a very sacred place. You know, that's the reason why what I wear, and I never really take it off, is, I don't know if you can see, it's my Celtic cross, and it's made with Connemara marble. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's marble that you can only get in Ireland. And then an Irish claddagh is, I wear that along with it. And so I wear it constantly because it reminds me of my mom, you know, and my faith. And just, that's the reason why I wear my wedding ring too. This was my wedding ring, but when I got married, I felt like I was making a commitment to heaven too. Connemara marble, that's it. Connemara marble. And it only comes from Ireland. And it's just, if I could go any place, I would go to Ireland. If I could move to Ireland, I would probably move to Ireland. And I'm Russian and Irish. See, that's cool. I don't like Putin, but the Russian people are so resilient. And it's cold in Russia. I would love Siberia. Well, Siberia now sucks because it's hot, you know. But I think that nationalities, I just prefer it cold, and it's hardly ever cold anymore. Wintertime isn't even cold anymore. It sucks. And but if I could move to Ireland, I would just like to be able to visit, you know. Thank you. Thanks. Owen has been. They probably should not have touched Owen because it's the gift that just keeps on giving. And I can go see him on the other side anytime I want, but it's not the same. And I'm being selfish, and I know I'm being selfish because he's way happier. But, you know, he was. Owen being my brother-in-law and being my brother, and the fact that he was a therapist, we were each other's therapists a lot of times. We were just each other's sounding boards. And they knew that taking out Owen would hurt me. And they're right. It did. It hurt me. Congratulations. They ain't gonna like how it responds. Owen was a special man. And the butt wipes, Geo Farnsworth just put a video out. It just a little while ago. And I never watch his shit because I can't fucking stand to even look at him. But I'm sure that he's dancing around because I caused the controversy with the imagination people that I did. But I don't care because it's all the same goddamn government shit that it always is. You know, it's a honeypot. I call it out as a honeypot. It's a fucking honeypot. If you're a survivor, they're going to love bomb you. They're going to draw you in. They're going to tell you how your family, how they care about you, how you're just better than fucking peanut butter. And they're going to want to know everything there is to know about your life. And as soon as they figure out that they have what they need, they're going to throw you off a fucking cliff. That's how it works. That's the other side of love bombing. And so, you know, no, they do the same shit over and over and over. They wrote this fucking playbook of theirs in the goddamn Stone Age, and they never deviate from it. It's always the same. And if I can help one survivor not fall for that, I will. Because it sucks, you know? They were going to the SMART conference and then and reaching out to these people, and I'm talking Satanic Temple assholes. And they were reaching out to people, so they would go to these conferences, like the SMART conference, and they would actually befriend these people. And they'd love bomb them and get them to, oh, we love you, all that. Then they would go, and then these survivors would go home, and they were getting introduced to, they were getting sent invitations to secret Facebook groups that dealt with DID. And so it was drawing all these people in because, oh my God, other people that have DID. And so they were drawing them in, and they were love bombing them and trying to make them seem like, oh, you're so wonderful. But then eventually they were starting to tell these people that they had dark personalities and that they had dark personalities. And in the end, the only way to deal with these dark personalities is for them to fucking kill themselves. That's the shit that they were doing to fucking survivors. That's how I knew that fucking Mesner and his group was involved in QAnon. After that dude took his kids to Mexico because someone on fucking QAnon convinced him that there were demon seeds inside of his kids. And the only way for him to survive is for him to fucking kill his kids. And he ended up taking a harpoon and fucking harpooning his kids because they convinced him of this shit. The same shit they were doing to survivors after the fucking SMART conferences. And so, yeah, it pisses me off. Because it pisses me off. It pisses me off. It's so wrong. And nobody ever calls it the fuck out. And so I'm gonna call it out. Fuck them. Fuck their honeypots. The ones who actually have problems, yeah, poor kids. You know? They think it's funny to take the most vulnerable of society. And when you deal with people who have gone through the abuse that we went through and are having to deal with DID issues, I was never DID. I got complex PTSD, but I was never diagnosed with DID. I never split up to personalities. I never lost time. You know, I always told people I only have one personality, and he's generally an asshole. But the people that did go through that shit are vulnerable. And they're seeking these fucking people out who are already vulnerable, who are already fractured, and they're pushing them off the fucking edge. Just like you've watched in the last 8 months them do it to me. Because they're convinced that I'm crazy, so they've been trying to push me over the edge. Yeah, and survivors will take it, because what we know is abuse. So when abusers come along and abuse us, it's what we already knew. So we gravitate towards it. And it takes a lot to get away from that. And I don't want to watch other survivors. They're not fucking hurting people anymore. They want to be hurt, so I fucking hurt them. You know, I cast. I sent them the goddamn dark. You know, am I happy with it? No. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it the same damn way. You know, I don't regret. Would I do it? Did I want to do it? No. But do I regret doing it? No, I don't. Narcissists use every weakness, exactly. And nobody teaches healthy boundaries enough. That's especially with survivors. We don't know boundaries. Do you know how many years it took me to learn how to say the word no? How much therapy it took me to learn how to say the word no. You know? And I cast on them. I sent them the dark. I did. After they let Bridget outside, I couldn't get the fact that I could have come home. And the sweetest dog that's never hurt anybody. I couldn't identify my emotions at 27. Amen to that, you know. Have all kinds of emotions, but didn't know what they were or where they were coming from. Thank God I had therapy. See, DID is, I learned a lot about DID. I was really critical about DID for a long time because what I experienced, especially with my sister in my life, was that she used her DID to excuse and dismiss every nasty motherfucking thing she ever did. And so I thought that DID for a long time, to be quite honest, I thought DID was bullshit. I did. And it was Owen, who was a therapist, a trained therapist, who was a therapist for years, who told me, excuse me, despite my personal experiences with it, the DID was a real thing. And the people that suffered with it, it was, it's an affliction. It is. It's an affliction. Thank you. Someone just said bless me. My allergies have been. See, that's just it. Blame it on my DID, baby. And but Owen convinced me that it was a real thing. And then actually having, being friends with Fiona, and she went out of her way to integrate as much as she possibly could her entire self. This was years ago. And she was a survivor that never did mean shit to me and then tell me that I couldn't hold her accountable for it because it was a different personality. Because that's the shit that I would do. My sister would be mean to me, do terrible things to me, and then tell me I couldn't hold her responsible because it was another personality. And I got really angry about it. And so I just, but I've also I was also heavily involved with the Ivory Garden Conference on trauma and dissociation. And I will say that the first conference that we ever had, it was almost all women, and all of the women had DID. The majority of them, anyway. And you would never know. You would never know. That's the whole thing. When you see, what pisses me off about the whole thing with Paul Bonacci and his bullshit in Franklin. Because back then, yeah, it worked because nobody knew a fucking thing about dissociation. But now that we know exactly what we do know about dissociation, when you look back and watch his videos with Ted Gunderson, I feel like I'm watching Primal Fear. It's all bullshit. And that's what I dealt with all of this, was that it was, yeah, exactly. I don't have anything but anger and fight. That's how I feel. I'm fighting back. Because as survivors, we're told to just take it. To just take it. And be happy about it. And no, it didn't go anywhere with Ted Gunderson, because Ted Gunderson was a bad guy. He was playing for the bad team. And I confronted him with it. And he told me he was an information gatherer. And I told him, well, you want to know what? You can go fuck yourself. And hung up the phone. We never spoke again. Go gather whatever fucking information you feel you need to, but don't gather it from me. I've been involved with this for a long, long time. I've dealt with Ted Gunderson and John DeCamp and Noreen Gosh and Paul Bonacci and Doug Mesner and Emily Thorne, and it's all government. Franklin was before Epstein. And if you don't think there isn't another Epstein out there right now, you are kidding yourselves. Because it didn't stop with Epstein any more than it stopped with Franklin. It's just someone else. We just don't happen to know who they are yet. Hubby almost died when I went through menopause. Men go through menopause. I feel like I'm going through menopause. And that's the reason why I fight this all the time. There's another one off Cape Cod. So many other Epsteins. Yeah. So many other Epsteins. so many other places that they're hiding. That's the reason why I can only bust the group that I'm busting, and that's Doug Mesner, Lucian Greaves, who has all this fucking satanic after school daycare bullshit in the schools already, and the Dead Isaac Cappy Club, because they fucking killed Isaac because of what he was trying to expose. That's who I'm in. That's who I'm busting out. And then if you're dumb enough to parade around, and the whole thing about it is that Imaginarium dude never bothered to tell me that he was involved with the Imaginarium. Do you know that I've known him for 10 years and never fucking knew that he was involved with all of that until what just happened this last weekend? Didn't fucking know who he was. Because I meet a lot of people, but it's really hard to keep up online. You guys are just names on a screen, unfortunately. It's not like when you're meeting face to face and you have a face and personal interaction to deal with it and you're exchanging energy face to face. It's different online. But yeah, David Hall, I've known him. He's been on my Facebook shit for 10 fucking years and never knew he was involved with Imagination or whatever the fuck it was. Not until Saturday. Saturday was when I found out, you know? And yeah, am I irritated? A little bit, you know? A little bit. Feel fucking duped. But it's not anything like what it always is, because they always have assholes in my life, you know? They always have fucking assholes. They're always sending me someone. And so I'm just, how did that even start? You mean, the whole thing about it is, what started with David Hall is that I didn't realize he was involved with Imaginarium, and he was mad about a short that I did a month before. And I was like, you are flipping out on me because I did a short a month ago. Do you know how many fucking videos I put out in a month? At least 30, 31, if not more, because sometimes I do 2 or 3 a day, you know? And it was this weekend that it all came out. It was this weekend. He fucking burned up my messenger. So my phone was just constantly going off. I had to end up turning notifications off. But I can't because people reach me on Messenger sometimes. And so I cook very well and I smell nice. You know, I'm okay with people. If you're a nice person, I don't give a shit what you look like. You know, I really don't. And I'm just so not into the superficial bullshit. I'm just not into the superficial bullshit. I started to be gang stalked. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And David was sending me these videos of him that were like these 30-second videos constantly. And the dude fucking looks like a meth head. If he's not a meth head, I feel sorry for him because he looks like a meth head. He looks like a drug user. And then he got mad at me when I replied to him and said, why do all of you look like you're on drugs? You know? Being a meth head has a certain kind of look to it. Being on hard drugs has a certain kind of look to it. It makes you look a certain way, you know? And that's what I was noticing over the whole situation. And do you know that he went on Messenger and took all those 30-second videos down? When I went to actually go watch one, he had taken them all down. And I don't give a shit if you're a survivor or not. If you're a survivor and you're following someone who's a goddamn meth head, beware. 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 You know, exactly. It makes them look and act psycho. And they get that Skeletor look. They look dirty. You know? I smoke pot. So, and I'm drinking wine. You know? So it's not like I'm a teetotaler. It's not like I'm, you know, it's just that there are certain drugs that you need to stay away from. They make meth out of Drano. Why you would consume Drano, I don't understand that any more than I understand who the shit decided, you know what would be fun? Let's eat a Tide Pod. You know? Drug users even when they're not, you know, exactly. I'd be packing a bowl right now if I had one. I'm broke. That's the other thing too, is if I to be quite honest, had I gotten donations this week, I would have gone out and bought some pot. I would have gone to the store, because Nebraska has a store. I would have bought some. It would have calmed me down. As it was, I bought an $8 bottle of wine, and I'm still. The other day, I did a video that I was drinking it, and I'm still working on this $8 bottle of wine. Because a bottle of wine, I like to drink a glass. I can't really force myself to drink a glass of red wine every night, because they say you should drink a glass of red wine every night. It's supposed to be healthy. But I figure if I can force myself to drink a glass of red wine, maybe 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week. But I will be quite honest, when I'm in the bathtub and I'm soaking in the bath and I'm thirsty and I'm drinking wine, whew, I can get drunk off of that because I'm thirsty, and I can drink a lot of wine then. I don't trust Emma. The whole thing about it is that I watched. After this weekend, I decided maybe I'm being a dick. Maybe I should go back and look again and reevaluate the Imaginarium thing. So I went and watched 3 of their videos. Now, granted, I didn't watch it from beginning to end because the shit was so fucking stupid that I just fast forwarded, and then I would listen until I couldn't listen anymore, and then I fast forwarded some more and I'd listen again, and I did that through 3 of her videos. And the problem that I have with this shit is that people like that make survivors, it makes us look like we're fucking insane, like we're crazy, like we all talk about that stupid shit. And that's not what I talk about. And some people get hungry when they smoke pot because they usually have chronic thirst. Drink some water first. See, I'm constantly drinking water. I drink water, and when I smoke, I don't eat. I'm just the opposite. I don't like to eat when I smoke. Yeah. It irritated the whole shit out of me. And it was just, of course, Geo Farnsworth is going to say, oh, well, now you're in a fight with someone else. No, I'm in a fight with the same goddamn group I've always been in the fight with. The same group that Geo Farnsworth. That's the reason why they thought they could come into my town and take out Owen and go back home and nothing would fucking happen to him. Because they belong in this fucking group that they think is going to protect him. But it's not. You know? See, that's just it. If you're already hydrated, no hunger pains. I spend money when I get paid on the 3rd. I always spend money and go out and buy a ton of water. And I like to go to Aldi's because I can get the big things for like 49 cents sometimes, 49. I think it's gone up to 69 cents now. But they're like about this size, and shit, I'll buy $30 worth because I'm constantly drinking water because I'm constantly just drinking fluids. And I prefer water over anything. I hate pop. It's too sweet. They are using multiple sites to activate their sleeper agents. They are. That's exactly what they're doing. You know, that's exactly what they're doing. And I'm constantly thirsty. And it's not that I'm constantly thirsty. It's just the drinking water. If you're drinking water, you're not doing other stuff. When I'm drinking water, I'm not filling my gut full of garbage food. I'm hardly ever hungry when I'm drinking so much water. And just, it is. The whole thing about it is, for survivors, is what you need to realize is that they have every fucking avenue in control. Everywhere you can go as a survivor, they have that in control. And see, I don't know if I believe that they can train people to dissociate using a phrase and be able to program them without them knowing. I think that they know. Electronic weapons definitely make you thirsty because it's just cooking you from the inside out. That's the reason why I can get up in the middle of the night and be so, I feel like I'm on fire. And I can sit and drink one of these in 20 minutes. And because I'm so thirsty. And they're, but don't worry about it, because that Havana syndrome, all of that stuff, that's just mass hysteria. You're having problems with false memories. You think that you're being affected and stuff is actually going on, but really, if you would just ask them, they would tell you you're just suffering from false memories and mass hysteria. You're just too stupid to know what's actually going on in your own fucking life. They know better what's happening to you than you do in your life, and we're supposed to respect that. That's supposed to be acceptable. Fuck you. I would think that I would know more about what's going on in my life than anyone else. Just like I would be willing to bet all of you know more about what's going on in your own personal lives than anybody around you. I think they know that too, but sometimes they're consumed and follow the program. It is. The whole thing about it is that they can't force us to do it, but they can push us to make that choice, because it's easier to just make the choice than to fight against it. And so I do have an email. You can reach me at dlshurter@gmail.com, or you can reach me at davidshurter1@gmail.com. And see, I heard about that Iraqi war. I heard about that they had voices of Allah. See, I've never had voices in my head, but then maybe that's because I'm a shaman, so I have voices in my head all the time. The other side talks to me constantly. But, so I've never really, not that I know of, I've never dealt with Y2K. But the shit that they beam at me sounds like a fucking electrical, it's like a high-pitched electrical sound. And Voice of God Project, it's the same thing as V2K from what I understand. Mine isn't words, it's just torture. It's torture. It makes your nerves go on fire. It causes anxiety like you cannot believe. Your heart, your blood pressure goes up. And yes, the other side makes me laugh all the time, as well as guide me. My sister Cindy is on the other side. They murdered her, and she makes me laugh all the time because she points out how dumb I am sometimes. She's the one who constantly tells me that I am not always the sharpest tool in the shed. So voice to skull tech, it it causes torture in a way that I can't even begin to describe to you. You do not know how many times I have woken up in the middle of the night and begged God to let me die because of what they were doing to me. Just begged. Please, just let it be over with. Please, just let it be over with. Obviously, it's not. So I have to take no for an answer. And I do, you know, but it doesn't make it any easier. And I feel good that you guys, someone back then was just like, way back in the conversation said something about Job. And I bet Job did bitch. If I was Job, I would bitch. In fact, I do bitch, and I'm not Job. I'm just, this shit is terrible. Little fucking Nazi toys. They don't need fucking concentration camps. They can cook you in your own goddamn house. They don't need to build a camp to stick you into, because they can do it in your own house. And all they do is just employ fucking meth heads. They have a ton of those. They just employ fucking meth heads. Irritating as all get out. I have been just irritated. I'm stressed out financially. I probably, because people listen to this, if anybody wants to donate, PayPal, Venmo is just Shurter. Shit, at this moment in time, I would appreciate $1. I don't care. When you don't have $1 is a lot of money. And so the whole thing about it is that we're all getting ready to die. No, and I know that there are people out there who cannot donate. And do not donate to me if you're already having hard times yourself. Don't donate to anybody if you're having a hard time yourself. Why would you do that to yourself? There are other ways to give other than money. And if it comes down to paying your rent or buying food or giving some stranger money, I would hope that you would choose paying your rent and buying yourself food. You empty your cup too much and there's no one filling it back up. You end up with an empty cup and then you don't have anything to give to anybody else. I have 120 a lot of potatoes. Are firing. Me, my leg. That's what's their. And shit, I can wake up in the middle of the night. I feel like I've been on for 8 hours. It's terrible, and I smell like that too. Whatever they're doing is just, I was doing dance. Need. I was a stripper. Year. No need. No dances. A friend of mine told me to. No. I'm stressed, but then what's new? It's the joys of complex. You're stressed. I hope I don't let anyone lose audio, but then I'm really help. I get off here at 10:30. I'm not even gonna pray. Imagination people. One was off is forcing you guys to listen to it. If you don't listen to it, fucking to it. It's Really, when it comes down to it, I'm just going to go like that. And I'll end up spending time praying. My audio is breaking up. It's not surprising to me. They hate me post stuff all the time. It just took a while. Minutes later. It's 1:50. I've been in this almost 2 hours. So, the right fighters in prayer. That's exactly it. We are fighting on the right side. You know, there's only 2 sides to this game. Only 2 sides to this game. You're either on God's side or you're on the fucking side of the child killers. So choose wisely. There's only 2 sides. God's side and the child killer's side. So choose wisely. I like that 100%. Because it's the way it is. You know? That's the way it is. There's only 2 sides to this. There's only ever been 2 sides to this. And you'll either choose God's side or you'll choose the wrong side. You ain't gonna like it. Choose the wrong side. It is not. It's an easy choice to stand with heaven. It's not easy to do, but it's an easy choice to make. It's a no-brainer. You know? You're either with heaven or you're with the fucking child. You know? And, I have to go to. I'm gonna go lay down. I'm kind of hours. I've been really out of sorts lately. God's side is the no-brainer. It's not easy. Don't let anybody tell you that following heaven and trying to emulate the path of Jesus Christ is easy, because if they're telling you, they're either a dumbass or they're lying to you. Because it's not easy. But in the end, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And I will tell you who's going through hell right now. Worth follow heaven. And thank you. I will email you, probably not until tomorrow. Probably be short. So just emails and stuff like that. I'm not a big, long, because I usually do everything on my phone. And it's hot and peck, and I hate that. And typewriter, I can go fast. But, and Jesus is, that's just it. You know? We are to emulate Jesus. We are to the Word. It's all about the Word. And that Word is love. And that's what we're supposed to do. The Word is love. And that's what we're called to do. And it's not easy. Because we live in a really fucked up world with a lot of fucked up people right now. So it's not easy to do it all. But when it comes down to it, it's about us as individuals. We're not proving shit to God. God already knows what's inside of us. When you're living the Word and you're doing what you're doing, who you're proving yourself to is you. You're showing yourself that you can do it, that you are capable of it, and that God is able to use you. That's the whole thing. We don't prove shit to God. God doesn't need us to prove shit to God. But proving it to ourselves, that's the thing. Believing that we are capable of it, that's the thing. And it's hard to love people, irritate the shit out of me. I live in a blue blood drinker state. I live in a red state. It's just as fucking hard. But I will say when I moved to Washington, I considered myself to be this ultra liberal person until I moved someplace that was ultra liberal, and I realized I was way more conservative than I had ever given myself credit for. I'm not fascist Nazi, but conservative, you know? I just, unfortunately, both sides, red and blue, they're both fucking crazy. They're being run by crazy people right now. They're both extreme, and they're both crazy. And I don't believe in the fascist amount of control, but this whole anything goes and everything is okay, I ain't all for that shit either. Just saying. You know, I kind of, whatever happened to the moderate middle kind of, you know, they're the same dirty coin. They're both two sides of the same dirty coin. Exactly. You know, I remember you before you moved. Yes, I was not as outspoken about being conservative by any means, because when I moved out there, I thought, oh, I'm ultra liberal. I'd just love to move someplace that was ultra liberal until I moved someplace that was ultra liberal. And then after I moved there, I thought, you guys are all crazy. You know, I left the Pacific Northwest to come back to Iowa, if that says anything. You know, exactly. Whatever happened to people with morals and a love of Christ? Exactly. You know, to emulate the word. And I think both sides are crazy. I'm not a fascist, but I think both sides, in a way, are fascist. Because when you go out to that ultra liberal bullshit, you can't call them out either. You know, you can't call them out. And I don't like people you can't call out. People call me out all the time, whether I agree with it or not. You know, usually a lot of people that actually listen to me, they don't usually call me out. They ask questions. But I don't mind being called out. I've been called out before in my life. I don't mind. It's always a big red flag when people won't let you call them out. When they throw fits and they're angry and they want to close you down for calling them out, that's a big red flag. If you can't ask questions, that's a big red flag right there. And so just keep that in mind as you're learning to discern. Those people who don't like to be questioned, you know, they have issues. And you can call me out, you know, if there's things I say, shit, sometimes I'm sure I say stuff in here that people are just like, did you really mean that? Well, Doug is so easy to mock cognitive. He is just so... Have you seen him lately? Ooh, that boy looks bad. He looks bad. He is not loving life. I'm just saying. He is not loving life. So, couldn't happen to a nicer motherfucker. I'm sorry, but I'm tired, and I've had a glass of wine, and now I try not to swear anymore. I've been really trying to work hard on not swearing. I don't succeed sometimes, because sometimes there's just no, I mean, I'm sorry, but sometimes there's just no other word that sums it up like fuck. I'm sorry, it doesn't. Nothing just reaches the level of that. But I tried, my mother always tried to tell me, I had a nice vocabulary. I was very articulate. I didn't need to swear. And, which is funny, because she swore like a sailor. But it was in always do as I say and not as I do. But, I found a funny Bible teacher who's fiery like us. Good for you. Because it makes it so much more interesting, It really does make it more interesting when people have a little bit of oomph to what they have to say and they believe in what they say enough to where there's emotions to it. Because otherwise, they're just reciting bullshit that they probably don't even believe themselves. Well, that is my cue because it just reconnected me. So God only knows how much you guys got of that. But thank you, God, for bringing us all together. Thank you for the conversation. I do feel better than what I did before I come in, just like usual. Guide us, help us. Help me with finances, please. I say these things in your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. Sorry, I just couldn't stop without prayer. Just seemed like, word of truth. He's off the hook, but he's saved. Swearing is easy, but cursing is an art. Yes, cursing is an art. It really is. When I told her, get fat and die alone. You are just not very nice. And that's something that I would say. People just would irritate me. You just don't want to play that war of words with me. You don't. Because I will make you drop your jaw every time. I am my mom's son. And my mom was like that. The things that would come out of her mouth would make people's jaws just drop open. And I'm so much like my mom. I'm a lot like my dad too, in a way. Other than the whole psycho, let's go abduct and kill a bunch of kids type thing. I didn't get that. But my dad wasn't all bad. He did have some good traits. But it's funny that I ended up more like my mom. Smart. It's the whole reason why I wouldn't let her go to a home. I took care of her the last 5.5 years of her life because they would have beat her up in a home. She would have pissed someone off. She would have. She would have said something and pissed them off. And then they would have beat her up. And I just couldn't allow that to happen to my mom. And so I have to find people. It's like this. It's like what that Steel Magnolias. If you don't have anything good to say about anybody, you come on over and sit with me. That's not always. I mean, babe, if you're not hurting people's feelings, oh my God, if you knew the commentary that goes through my head out in public, I just try not to say anything. But people should appreciate honesty, but they don't. They want to chase you down with the bat. They don't like honesty at all. And heaven does get our humor, But then heaven has a sense of humor too. Sometimes I think it's a completely fucked up sense of humor because I get angry with it. But heaven, God has a sense of humor. But with that said, it's 2 hours. Thank you guys for coming on. I feel better. I'm going to go lay down. And it's Wednesday night. I'll make every attempt to come back on here on Friday. it's just that with summertime, there's just so much, and there's just so much going on. And then by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I was gonna do a live video this morning, but it was 6 o'clock in the morning because I wake up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, just raring to go. But I don't think I'm gonna get any of you probably at 6 o'clock in the morning, and so I try to. I try to stay awake and all of that so I can do these in the evening. I need a prayer so much, and I caught your live. I'm so happy. I'm glad. I'm up at 6. I'm up so early. But then I go to bed way early too. I'm always been an early to bed, early to rise kind of guy. I'm not 10:30. We're talking 10 to 11, and this is like 2 o'clock in the morning for me, to be quite honest. Last night I was in bed at 6 o'clock. You know, I go to bed, but then this morning I was up at 3:30, quarter to 4. And so, you know, it would be a little bit dull at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's why I didn't do a live at 6 o'clock in the morning. 7:30 to 3:30. I try to actually just do it in the evening because I figured that way you guys can catch. It's easier for you guys to catch in the evening, and then you guys can have maybe some good thoughts before you go to bed. That's kind of what I'm hoping, you know. And I keep vigil at night. Their weapons wake me up. And like I said, there are times that I will wake up in the middle of the night and beg God to just let him kill me. You know, their weapons are so wrong. So wrong. And the fact that they've hurt so many people with them is just so wrong. You know? So wrong. And so it pisses me off. Because at 3 o'clock at night, when it's terrible, that's what I start thinking about. Was how many other people have they done this to that weren't able to deal with it like I'm able to deal with it, and I can barely deal with it. You know, I can barely deal with it. And it's just wrong. On so many levels, it's wrong. And that's why when I say fuck them, I don't feel bad about it. Fuck them. And I don't feel bad about saying that. Fuck them. They get what they get. And they deserve so much more. And so, now they gang stalk me. Shit, they live right beside me. So they come into my house whenever the fuck they want. You know? I will say that the time that I was in the bathtub and they came in and let my dog outside, it wasn't in summertime, but they did it while I was in the bathtub. So now I have to jimmy rig my fucking front door so that nobody can come open my front door without it making a bunch of racket because it alerts me when I'm in the house. That's how I have to fucking live. And people wonder why I get irritated with the shit. Because no one should have to live like this in their own fucking house. You know? No one. And anyone who has to go through it realizes how wrong it is. You know? It pisses me off. And I don't want to think about it because I have to go to bed here in just a few minutes, and that's not the last thought I want. And so they're nightmare makers. But that's all right, because the nightmare just got fucking returned to them. And they ain't gonna like what's coming. They're not liking what's embracing them right now. And I don't feel bad for them at all. I got a door alarm. So I had to put a door alarm on there, and then I'm afraid that they're gonna be able to do something to shut that off. So then I have other shit in there, so that if they open the door, the shit falls down. And I can hear it, you know? Their buddies have their maid home. I love buddies. You know, that's the thing about it with animals now. I had a cat come on my front porch and just hang out on. It jumped up on my on the top of my band of the railing, and just hung out for 20 minutes. And I'm worried because the squirrels in my backyard want to come see me and talk to me even when the dogs are outside. And I don't trust my dog, one of especially. I don't trust her around squirrels because she looks at them as toys. And I never realized it until just recently. I don't think she can get one because she's so crippled. But um, they want to come straight right up to me. You know, animals and kids. I've always had this weird effect on animals and kids. If I go into stores, little kids will just stare at me and smile and want to get my attention. And animals are like that too. And the squirrels, they're just the sweetest thing. I think the way they're acting, if I held out something to eat, they take it out of my hand. That's how they've gotten, you know, animals and kids just have always, and it's funny because I have had people around me, I say that, and I've had people who are just like, wow, you know, you're, because I'll say that, and then it'll never, I was telling a friend of mine, we were painting, and then no more than 10 minutes later, this woman comes walking by with this, couldn't have been more than 3 years old, on a bike. And biked all the way down past this garage to come talk to me. And his mom was calling him back, and he wanted to have a conversation with me. And that's the kind of thing that ends up happening, you know? And I love kids at a distance. I the older I get, I just become a grumpy old man. Kids exhaust me. Animals, not so much. You invite me to your party, chances are you're going to end up finding me in the kitchen with your animal and the food. That's what ends up happening. You know, I end up gravitating to wherever the animals are. And we were talking about having a fourth, but we might die from exhaustion. I don't do fireworks. With the PTSD, that noise doesn't bother my dogs at all. Bugs the shit out of me. I can't take the constant noise. That's, again, with kids. That peripheral vision, them moving around in my peripheral vision. Oh, a fourth child. Oh my God, kill me now. I actually had someone ask me if I ever wanted a kid, and I'm 57 years old. No. I in another life, had I not gone through what I went through, and I laughed out loud. You know that I kind of look at kids like the movie Alien. They grow inside of you until they burst out with blood and gore and ew, you know? For someone else, not for me. They are just like that. That's exactly it. And then the alien creatures, that's what they end up becoming like, you know? 3 years old, they're into everything. They're fine when you can hold them and lay them down and all of that. But the minute they can walk, and especially the minute they can talk, oh, no. You know, horse tranquilizers. Put them in the closet with horse tranquilizers. When they're 18, let them out and go over the world, you know. I told you I would be a terrible parent. I'm joking, though, too, because I would never do that to my kid. But I would duct tape my kid to me. Knowing the world that I know, I'm glad that I don't have kids. Because knowing the world that I know, I don't like to go out with people who have kids. Because when I go out with people who have kids, I focus on their kids because not on my watch. Your kid ain't going to be taken on my watch. And it sucks to have to think like that. But it only takes a second. It only takes you looking away for a second. Don't let your kids run around in stores by themselves. Know where your kids are. Don't send your kids to the bathroom by themselves. And I'm not talking transsexuals. There's plenty of other things in that bathroom waiting, you know? Just, it was funny because I went to Cracker Barrel one day. I was with a group of people. No sleepovers either. No sleepovers. I would never let my kids sleep over, you know? But then I would suck as a parent because my kid would hate me because I'm just, you know, I just never, I just don't trust people. And the ones who want to be around kids the most are the ones you have to be cautious of the most. You know, predators go where the prey is. That's what I said with this whole situation with Imagination podcast or whatever the fuck it is. Predators go where the prey is. So setting up these sites where they draw in survivors, then you're going to have predators who are there to prey on those survivors. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. I'd like to say that it would be okay to let your kids go out and play outside until the lights come on. But if you do that to your kid, chances are you ain't going to have your kid for very long. And that sucks that we live in that kind of world. And, yeah, especially if they're on the spectrum. If your kid is on the spectrum, chances are they're going to be bullied in a way, and no one's going to protect them. You know? That's why you have all of these kids who are ending up 10 years old killing themselves because they're being targeted at schools and no one protects them. And the teachers, shit, they can't do anything. You know? We live in a shit world right now. It won't always be that way. Things are going to shift, but they're going to get worse before they get better. And I was mostly worried about the pedos and the witches and the witchcraft. Yeah. If I was sending my kid to a school that had a satanic after-school daycare program associated with it, red flag, red flag, red flag, you know? Shit. I would think that would go without saying, but obviously. To be me in this whole situation, sometimes I just have to roll my eyes. Because when I look at how stupid the situation is, and the stuff that is going on, that has been going on out in the open, it baffles me, and it leaves me speechless sometimes. And I'm not someone who is easily rendered speechless. And so, the world is shit right now. Protect your kids. Protect your kids, first and foremost. And ignorance is not bliss. You know? Ignorance is not bliss. And unfortunately, innocence is something they use to hurt your children with. Unfortunately, kids can't stay that innocent anymore because if you don't instruct your kids, their innocence is going to get taken from them instead of I just don't know how to phrase it. But, you know, it is hard to explain evil to good people because they think, well, I'm not capable of that, so no one else is going to be capable of that as well. And that couldn't be more from the truth. Just because you ain't fucking capable of it doesn't mean your neighbor isn't more than willing to fucking do it. You know? It's our job to keep them safe and teach them, not these. I know teachers, and I know that teachers, there are a lot of good teachers out there. But I also realize that the shit that's being forced that's the reason why we're losing so many teachers. That's the reason why so many of them are quitting. You know? Because they don't want to be involved with it either. And if it keeps going, all that's going to be in the schools is fucking them. You know? And God help your kids if that ever happens. I don't have kids, but I care about kids. You know? I care about kids, obviously. And, parents do have to proactively protect the innocence of their children. You know? They do. And you have to work really hard. Personally, me, I think innocence in a child is a beautiful thing. And I wish that we lived in a world where that innocence could actually be extended for as long as possible. You know, wouldn't it be nice to have kids just be innocent and let them be kids? Wouldn't it just be great? You know? And it's sad that we can't. But innocence is meant to be protected, not exploited. And people who want to exploit that innocence ends up. Someone asked me the other day what would ever happen if I ever walked in on someone abusing a child. And I had to think about it. And then I turned to my friend and said, I don't even really want to think about it. And she asked me why. And I said, because I don't think that it would go well. I'm not so sure what I would do because I would think that I would flip, you know, in a way that nobody wants to see me flip, you know. The best thing about it is that the dad who walked in on this adult male raping his son, and he almost beat that dude to death. And if it wouldn't have been by his son, who was the victim, who pleaded with his dad, please, he's not worth it, don't do this. And the dad didn't get any charges. But you want to know what? That's exactly how I would feel. And if I had money, I would give that dude a donation. Because amen to that. Amen to that. You know? I'm supposed to be a Christian, but, and I don't own a gun. But I live in Iowa, and they have lots of trucks who have lots of suggestions on what to do with fucking pedophiles. And I have to honestly say that I can't argue with any of the stuff I've read on people's trucks, you know, and that's sad. But, you know, my drug dad craps his pants all the time now. He verbally abused me. Yeah, isn't that funny how it all works? Karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch. And unfortunately, those people aren't happy. That's why they do what they do, you know? Because only an unhappy fucker wants to hurt a kid. That's how it works. No one who's happy with life, who feels good, who's living the word and doing everything they possibly can to live a word, you know? Once, donation for beatings. Yeah, if you want to beat a pedophile, I would donate to you. Don't have a damn dime to my name, but I'd find one, you know? And that's just sad. And there is no witness protection for karma. No. Funny how that works that way. Well, on that dark ass note, I'm gonna go. I think it's, I'm really tired of child killers. And I'm really tired of fighting with the child killers. And worse, the pedophile protection squad. I'm sick of fucking fighting them. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. In fact, I have a feeling I'm gonna get worse. But I'm really just, I don't feel nice anymore. I don't feel like trying. I'm done turning the other cheek. And I know that isn't not probably the right thing to say or how to feel, but I'm done turning the other cheek because my cheeks are fucking raw from turning over and over and over. Every time I turn, they just slap the other one. And so I'm done. I'm done, because when does it become self-abuse? When you allow it over and over and over and over, when does it stop being the charitable thing to do and just start becoming self-abuse? And I'm not into self-abuse. I'm not a masochist. I'm not a sadist either. Not to say that I won't feel joy when they end up getting theirs. Because I can't say that either. If we're all going to be honest, I can't say that either. I hate them. What they've done, not just to me, but to so many other people. Who they are, that's the worst thing, is who they are. And vengeance is God's. Vengeance is God's. And I won't do anything. I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing, trying to promote love, trying to save as many people from the dark as possible. But like I said at the beginning of this, I cast. And I don't feel bad about it, and I don't regret it. I'm not proud of it, but fuck it, They ramped up their stocking, they broke into my house and stole my dream catcher as a response to me starting the White-Eyed Monsters. I name it after the native prophecy about the seventh generation. They break into my fucking house every time I leave, That's what it feels like. And they do shit so that they know that I know that they were in there. And I'm just going to keep naming names. They don't seem to like it. And although it's exhausting, I do have to admit, it's quite entertaining. It's quite entertaining. They like the dark, so when you shine the light on them, they scatter like cockroaches. That's when you want to have your can of Raid. That's kind of what the darkness is for me. So, pray for divine justice. Every damn day. Sometimes all day. So, okay. Bye, guys. I've been on here for 2.5 hours. And so, thank you. I think we will see the conclusion of this. I do think that, fuck Terra Joyce. Fuck them all. I would say fuck them, but they've already fucked themselves. And so, with that said, good night, guys.